So welcome to the lecture of analog integrated circuits design. This is lecture number 4 on unit 5, and we were discussing about analog filters. So in the previous class, we just looked at the transfer function of a filter. So we have expressed it in the form of zeros and poles, and we also looked at the significance of a zero and a pole, how the filter characteristics will modify whenever it encounter a zero or a pole. And all this study we just started with a simple low pass filter. So now we will go to the proper, like we'll start from the first order filters itself. So when I say first order filters, it will have definitely it will have a generic transfer function. So from the transfer function what I have written here, when you say first order, it will be of order 1. When you say order 1, you will have the degree of s will be the s you will have as s s term in the numerator or in the denominator, but you will not have an s square term, right? So just to clarify, what we can do is the first order filter will have a transfer function like h of s, and in general we write it as some alpha into s plus z1 divided by s plus p1, right? So it will have a single 1 0 and 1 pole. So z1 represents the 0 and p1 represents a pole, and a filter of this form in general is generally identified as a first order filter. So when I say this is a first order filter, but we do not know what so you can have like responses, like you can have different type of responses with first order filters. And generally, so say for example, when I know that there is a pole, there is a single pole and a single zero, and if I'm directly trying to plot it on pole zero diagram, can you comment, or can you just say how, what will be the response of such a filter? So you have a single zero and a single pole. Yeah, so if I'm trying to draw the pole zero diagram, you can mark a pole and a zero in this, right? So there are two ways you can mark pole and zero. Can someone suggest what do you understand by this first order filter transfer function? There is a single zero, single pole. Now, depending on the value of zero or a pole, what type of response can you expect from this? Any guess? So what I'm asking here is based on the understanding that if you encounter or if there is a pole in the transfer function, your gain will drop by 20 dB per decade, and if there is a zero in the transfer function, your gain will actually increase with a 20 dB per decade. So that is a general understanding of a pole and a zero. Now, based on that, okay, band pass filter. Can you clarify a little more, Anushka, on that? How can you say that you can expect a band pass filter out of this?
So, because we definitely have 1 0 and 1 pole, and we have if we have a zero, it means like your gain will definitely increase. And because we have a pole, we know that the gain will definitely decrease. So it's if it's increasing for some part and decreasing for some part, it'll be band pass, I think.
Yes, correct, Anushka. So in that way it is right, but we know that. So here the possibilities, you can have either a pole coming first or a zero coming first, right? So that means I can mark in this form. So either you will encounter, definitely on the left hand side, you will encounter I'll use a different color. You will encounter a pole. Yes, so you will encounter a pole of value P1 or a zero of value Z1 in this form. This is one possibility. And the another possibility is you will encounter first a zero and then a pole. Right. These are the two possibilities out of this general transfer function what I have written. Right. So the form is s plus z1 divided by s plus p1. That means you will have 0 at minus z1, and you will have pole at minus p1. That is what I have marked on the S plane. So what you're seeing here is S plane, where I'm marking the poles and zeros. So now, depending on the value of 0 and pole, you will have either a pole greater than 0, or you will have a 0 greater than a pole, right? So now we got to know this is the pole 0 diagram of the filter, of the first order filter. Now with this, can you tell me what type of response can you expect? So I'll help out. Say you have a filter and it is giving you, say for example, 0 dB gain. Now it is encountering a pole. Yes, Vaishnavi, when it encounter a pole, the gain will actually drop in a rate of 20 dB per decade. And when it encounter a 0, that rate, it was actually decreasing in minus 20 dB per decade. Now when it encounter a 0, it will try to increase in plus 20 dB per decade. That means you will have actually no slope at that specific point. So this is the point you have encountered a pole, and this is the point where you have encountered a 0, right? So one slight clarification here is, yes, the way Anushka you thought is right, but the only difference is if you want to have an increase, then you should have a 0 again, because the slope was actually decreasing in a rate of 20 dB per decade, and that will be neutralized when a 0 comes into picture. So this is the response, or this will be the characteristics of the filter if you have a pole value lesser to a 0 value, as shown in the first pole 0 diagram. Now similarly, if you look at the second pole 0 diagram, what you can see here is, say you have a specific response, and you have a specific response here, and all right, I'll start from here. Say this is somewhere 0 dB, close to 0 dB, but you are encountering a 0 first. So when you encounter a 0, your gain will actually start increasing in a rate of 20 dB per decade, and next you are encountering a pole, and at that time that will actually tend to or the slope will be actually equal to 0. All right, so in that sense, when you have a single pole and a single 0, the responses what you can expect is of a low pass filter here, and we call this as a first order low pass filter. And on the right side, what you can expect is a first order high pass filter. So is this clear? Any questions on this? So this is exclusively by taking the transfer function with a single 0 and a single pole. All right, so if you have questions, you can post. Meanwhile, we'll just look at one circuit where, okay, so now what we will see is, we will look for circuit where we can have 1 0 and 1 pole. So the very simple circuit of that form is, this is the simple low pass filter what we considered, but we know that this is having a pole but not a 0. So introduce one more 0. What we can do is, we can actually add a capacitor. Sorry, can add a capacitor parallel to this resistor, and this point I will mark as V in, this point I will mark as V out, right? So if I name this as, say this is R1 and C1 as the original filter what we discussed so far with a single pole, and now since I am introducing a second capacitor here, I am calling this as C2. All right, so now can you help me in writing the transfer function of this this circuit? So you have V in here and V out here. What I'm asking is, can you help me to find the H of S of this filter, H of S? What is H of S? H of S is V out of S divided by V in of S. Are you guys trying to get the transfer function? If you're getting answers for this, please do let me know. You need to work it out, otherwise you will not get. All right. Okay. So how will you write this? It is as same as the simple low pass filter. So you can think this as R1 and C2 are in parallel. So you can think this as a single impedance of R1 parallel to 1 by SC2. So the rest of the things remain same. You can write your output as output is actually across the capacitor. So it is 1 by SC1 divided by you will have the total simple voltage divider itself. In previously you had a single resistance, now you have a resistor capacitor combination. So this is R1 parallel to 1 by SC2, the whole thing, plus 1 by SC1. Or if you continue to work on this, I think you can write all the steps here. So it is R1 into 1 by SC2 divided by R1 plus 1 by SC2 on this side, plus you will have 1 by SC1 on the other side. So now if you simplify this, you will have 1 by SC1 will come to the denominator and this will go up. So you will have 1 plus S into R1 C2 on the numerator, and on the denominator you will have 1 plus S into C1 plus S into C2 and into R1. I hope you are getting this expression. If yes, you can just respond in the chat as yes. So you will get H of S as 1 plus S R1 C2 divided by 1 plus S into C1 plus C2 into R1 in a more like rearranged form. And now if you look at this, I hope you are getting this expression. Can I get some response in the chat? All right, yeah. So now after looking at this expression, what is the takeaway? Like what do you infer from this? You can infer that there is a, so you look at this, here we have written in the other form, in the 1 plus S tau form, where tau is a time constant. For an RC circuit, it will be RC, tau is 1 by RC. Sorry, tau is RC. So here you look at this, we have, or I showed that this is a general form. And when you write in terms of S plus pole and S plus Z1 and divide by S plus P1, you will have an alpha term. But that you will not see it here because we have written in time constant form. So if you want to write in terms of S plus 1 by R1 C2, you can actually take R1 C2 common and you can make the coefficient of S as 1 and you will get the other form, what we have written, the general expression. But anyway, from numerator, we can see that there is a 0, and from denominator, when you equate this to 0, you will get the pole value. And if you write the 0 value, so 0 can also be expressed as omega z. So omega, in order to get the 0 frequency, I can equate numerator in equal to 0, and that will give you the S value as minus 1 by R1 C2. Minus 1 by R1 C2 means the 0 frequency is equal to, the frequency is minus 1 by R1 C2, but this is what we are expressing on S plane. That doesn't mean that this is something called as negative frequency. The only difference is there is a difference in orientation. On the S plane, you will have these pole values on the left hand side. That is the significance of negative sign here. And if you look at the frequency is definitely positive frequency, and which is 1 by R1 into C2. This is how you will get the 0 frequency. Similarly, if you write the pole frequency, or if you want to write the pole frequency, what you have to do is you have to equate the denominator, which is this term, equal to 0, or you can say that this implies that S is equal to minus 1 by C1 plus C2 into R1. This is the value of S. Right, so that again give you the expression for pole as minus 1 by the same value, minus 1 by C1 plus C2 into R1. Again, this is what we mark on the pole zero diagram. So if I draw the pole zero plot, or if I hope you guys are with me, you are following. If not, please let me know in the chat. So if I draw the pole zero plot here with sigma here and j omega here on S plane, you have a so now look at the expression of this, and can you guess where omega z is greater or omega p is greater? So I'll write both the expressions here. So you got that omega p is equal to minus 1 by r1 into c1 plus c2, and omega z is equal to minus 1 by r1 into c2. So what do you think, whether pole or zero will come first? Which is smaller? Which frequency is smaller? Can I get some response in the chat? Yeah, pole will be closer to origin, yes, as is greater than omega p. Omega z is greater than omega p, yes. So if we mark, we will mark in this form, we will have a pole. So pole we mark with an into, and zero we'll mark with a zero itself. So this value is minus 1 by r1 into c1 plus c2, and this is minus 1 by r1 into c2. Right. So this is how, if you plot pole zero diagram, and from this it is clear that what type of response will you get from this first order filter what we have taken. So can you tell me what will be the response? What type of filter this will be? Yeah, I think it is clear. And so to make it more clarified, what we can do is we can draw the filter response here. So this is the frequency axis, and this is the magnitude of h of s. So it will have definitely some magnitude, even it can be 0 dB. So this is what I'm drawing here is actually the ideal response. Practically, you will actually see a much more drop in the gain. It is not like your gain will be constant till the pole. You will have even you will in certain times, certain cases, you will have a 3 dB frequency much before this. So when here you have the first pole, so this is the value. So it is 1 by r1 into c1 plus c2, and at this point you will have a drop in gain, so which is of the rate of 20 dB per decade. This is minus 20 dB per decade, and say at this point you have the next frequency, which is r1 c2, where your gain will be of 0, in the sense the previous slope of minus 20 will be cancelled by the when the zero frequency comes, right? So this means this is actually the example of a first order low pass filter. This is example of a first order low pass filter. All right, so I hope this is clear what we have done. We started from the first order the first order transfer function, the generic expression. From that, we told that there can be two cases when you have 1 0 and 1 pole. And when we took the simple example, when we introduced a capacitor in parallel to the resistance, we got 1 pole and 0, and by looking at the values of pole and 0, we understood that can give you a response of a low pass filter. Now, what do you think, if you want to have a high pass filter response, what should be the, or what can we do on this if you want to have a high pass filter response? So if this is a circuit, if the circuit is this, if I have a circuit of this form where you have an R and C in parallel on the input side and the output is across a single capacitor, definitely you are going to get this type of response, or it will be always a low pass filter, because I can say that always omega p will be less than omega z, right? In any condition this will be true, and hence this will always give you a low pass response. Now what I'm asking you, the question what I'm asking you is, how can I get a high pass response out of this? How can I get a high pass filter response from this first order filter? Are you guys with me? Can I get some response from you guys? Interchange 0 and pole points. Okay. So what do you mean by that? Interchange?
So we should interchange the capacitor and resistors which are in parallel, I guess.
All right. Okay. So okay. Yeah, that also can be a possibility. We need to work it out. Yeah, but definitely with this circuit, it is not possible, right? That is what I am trying to say. Or if you want to get a high pass response on this circuit, like the circuit is this, is it possible? Yeah, interchanging C1 and R2. I didn't get C1 and R2 because we have taken take output across parallel combination of resistor and capacitor. Yes, that could be an option. Yes, that definitely that will give. Fine. So what I'm going to do now is on this filter or on this circuit, if I want to have, so the circuit what I have now is a capacitor, a resistor and a capacitor here, and I have another capacitor here, right? This is the circuit what I have now, and this is V in and this is V out. Now, if I want to get another response, or if I want to make the pole larger than 0, what I can do is I can simply add one more resistance over here, and let me name this as this is R1, C1, C2 and R2. So you will be wondering why I did this. So what I'm going to do now is I have an initial circuit, and on this circuit, without interchanging the components, just by adding one more resistance at the output side, I'm just looking how this can help me in getting a high pass filter response. Right. So can I request you guys to find the transfer function of this of this circuit, where you have C1 R1 in parallel on the input side, C2 R2 in parallel on the output side.
An equivalent resistance is 1 by SCL parallel SC2 parallel to R2, sir.
I didn't get the equivalent.
We just take we just like simplify C2 and R2 as 1 by SC2 parallel R2, and it's the same as last
in the
time.
same expression. Yes, that is right. So I can write V out by V in, V out of S by V in of S. Yes, in the simple low pass filter, you will have one R and C. So the expression what we have written was that, but now we need to make it parallel, because here the output is taken across 1 by SC2 parallel to R2 divided by R1 parallel to 1 by SC1 plus R2 parallel to 1 by SC2. This is the expression now. Or this can be simplified further. So what I'll do is I'll just simplify this R2 parallel 1 by SC2 here. We know how we will get when we simplify. This will be, the simplified version will be R2 divided by 1 plus SR2C2. Right. So similarly, R1 parallel to SC1 also you will get the same thing. So I can just write the numerator as R2 divided by 1 plus SR2C2 divided by this is R1 divided by 1 plus SR1C1 plus again R2 divided by 1 plus SR2C2. Right. Instead of plugging in the entire expression here and making it complicated, we can actually write the parallel combination result directly on the numerator and denominator, and then we can simplify. So when you simplify this further, I hope you will get there is 1 plus SR2C2 both in the numerator and denominator. This will get cancelled, and the rest of 1 plus SR1C1 will come to the numerator, divided by, then I'll have R1 multiplied by this term plus R2 multiplied by the other term, SR1 C1. All right. So this could be rearranged in a better form. So let me try to rearrange it. H of s can be written as numerator. I'll leave it as it is. Let me write it as R2. Sorry. Yeah. So it is R2 into 1 plus S R1 C1 divided by the denominator. You will have R1 plus R2 plus, we'll have SR1 R2 C2 here, SR1 R2 C1 there. Okay, so we'll have SR1 R2 into C1 plus C2. Yeah, so this is the simplified expression. I hope you are getting this expression. And now what I will do is I'll just substitute, or I'll just put numerator equal to 0, which implies that 1 plus S R1 C1 into R2 is equal to 0, or that will give you the value of 0 frequency. I'll write it as SZ as minus 1 by R1 C1. Are you guys with me? Can I get some response in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right. So similarly, when I substitute denominator equal to 0, I have R1 plus R2 plus S R1 R2 into C1 plus C2. This equal to 0. That means I can just take R1 plus R2 common from here. So I'll write it as 1 plus S R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into C1 plus C2 equal to 0. You can write in any form, but I'm just trying to, this is R1 parallel to R2 into C1 plus C2 equal to 0. That means I'll get another frequency here, which is equal to minus 1 by R1 parallel R2 into C1 plus C2. I hope this is clear. All right, so if I rewrite this here as 0 frequency, I can write it as minus 1 by R1 C1, and pole frequency can be written as minus 1 by R1 parallel R2 into C1 plus C2. All right. Now we okay. How now can we say, or with this expression, can we say whether omega z is higher or omega p is higher, or there are chances that both are possible, or what do you think? Any thoughts on that?
Sir,
Yes.
if R1 is equal to R2 and C1 is equal to C2, then both are equal.
R1 is equal to R2. That is not possible, no?
And C. Okay. Then omega.
No. What I'm telling is, how can you say that when R1 equal to R2 and okay. You are thinking you'll get R by 2 here and 2C, it will be 1 by RC, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. So, but that will not give you the response of either a high pass or a low pass filter, right? So, what we are exactly looking for is, if you want omega p greater than omega z, that means if you want the pole frequency to be larger, you can actually expect a high pass filter, right? So that means you can expect a high pass filter if you have this as 0 frequency and this as pole frequency, right? So now what we will do is we will actually try to look at the condition. Can we obtain some condition so that we can we can get a high pass filter from this, or we can get a low pass filter from this. Now the second case is it could be omega p less than omega z also. Possibility is there, and that means you will actually start something like this, and whenever you encounter your pole frequency, it will start dropping, and when you encounter the zero frequency, you will get back to the zero slope state, right? So what you have here is a high pass filter, and what you have here is a low pass filter. Now my question is, how can we ensure that this filter response will be of high pass, or how can we make sure that, or to make sure omega z is lower, how can we say, how can we ensure that omega z will be lower? What condition we can impose? Any thoughts? For omega z should be lower, that means 1 by R1 C1 should be less than 1 by R1 parallel R2 into C1 plus C2, right? Small R2 need not give always a value of omega p, because small R2 can be one possibility, C2 greater than C1 can be another possibility, right? So in general, how can we summarize? I can ensure if this, if I have 1 by R1 C1 less than 1 by R1 parallel R2 into C1 plus C2. If I can ensure this condition, I can say always omega z will be lower, because 1 by R1 C1 is a omega z frequency, and 1 by R1 parallel R2 into C1 plus C2 is the pole frequency. So if I can make sure 1 by R1 C1 is less than that, always I can ensure the condition. So I am trying to derive a condition out of this. That means 1 by R1 C1 should be less than, I am just keeping the R1 parallel R2 as this form. So this is the condition, right? So I'm bringing the C1 plus C2 on this side, and I'm taking this on the other side, R1 plus R2 divided by R1 R2, and I'm bringing R1 here. So that will result in a condition that C1 plus C2 divided by C1 will be less than R1 plus R2 divided by R2. Or further, I can write by splitting the numerator, I can write it as 1 plus C2 by C1 should be less than 1 plus R1 by R2, 1 plus R1 by R2. Or I can cancel out this 1 and I can cross multiply, and I can say that R2 C2 should be less than R1 C1, right? So whenever the product of R2 C2, if it is smaller than R1 C1, I can say that omega z will be a lower frequency, and that will always give you a high pass response. So the intention is not always to have a high pass filter, but our discussion started like this. We started from the first order transfer function expression, and we looked for a very simple way of implementing that. And by looking at the location of pole and zero, we realized that with that specific transfer function, we can realize only a first order low pass filter, because always the pole frequency will be smaller than or lesser than zero frequency. So later what we did is we added one more resistance, because again there are different options we can try out by interchanging the components and all. But with the existing circuit, I just added one more resistance at the output side, and thereby we obtained an expression. And when I looked at that expression, you are getting a zero frequency and a pole frequency. Now, since there are multiple elements, we cannot straight away say that if R1 is small or R2 is small, you will get a zero frequency or pole frequency. That is why I have I just kept on working and derived a condition, so that with that condition we can always ensure that you will have a high pass filter or you will have a low pass filter. That condition is obtained like this. So if you have R2 C2, the product of R2 C2, if it is less than R1 C1, you can always ensure that that will be a high pass filter type. All right. So I hope this is clear. Now, can you also tell me what will be the magnitude of this transfer function at this point? and this point. Similarly on this point and this point. Any guesses? Because you have the transfer function here ready. Now I want to know what will be the magnitude of zero frequency when you have a high pass filter response. Similarly, when you have a low pass filter response. By looking at the transfer function, are you getting any idea? Any answers for that? All right, so look at this transfer function. If I want to write what is the magnitude here, this corresponds to a zero frequency. Now, when S is equal to 0 in this, that will result in the magnitude as R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So this is actually R2 divided by R1 plus R2, and similarly, this corresponds to R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Now, at omega p, so at omega p, you have to see, so when you substitute omega p here, you can actually simplify this expression, and that will give you this value, the magnitude at omega p, as you can work it out C1 by C1 plus C2, and similarly, this value is also C1 by C1 plus C2. All right. So I hope you understood this, what we have done. Any questions on this?
Sir, could you repeat once how you found the magnitude?
All right. So you have the transfer function expression here. So to directly get what is the magnitude at zero frequency, you can substitute what is S. What is S? S is equal to 0. So when S is equal to 0, what you will left out will be only R2 by R1 plus R2. So that means at 0, this magnitude will be R2 by R1 plus R2, and 0, this magnitude will be R2 by R1 plus R2. Now, if you want to know what is the magnitude of the transfer function when at omega p, you can substitute the value of omega p as, or you can substitute in place of omega, you can substitute the value of omega p what we have derived from this, and that will result you in the expression of, or that will give you basically the value of the transfer function at that specific frequency. Is it clear? Is that clear?
Sir, can you please explain other than the 0 one, sir?
Yeah, so what you have to
WP.
do is, yeah, you have the transfer function here, right? What you can do is you can either you can write the magnitude of this, you can write the magnitude of this, and in that magnitude you can substitute the omega value as in this case you can substitute the omega p value there, which is 1 by R1 parallel R2 into C1 plus C2. When you substitute that, whatever you are getting as the magnitude is the magnitude at this point. Right. See, in both the cases, you have a transfer function. You want to find what is the magnitude at a specific frequency. What you need to do, you need to substitute that frequency in that expression and find the magnitude. Only that I did.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
All right. Yes. Okay. So I think I can give a question right away here. You can design this filter. All right, so the question is this. Design the circuit for a high pass response. The circuit what I'm referring is the circuit what we have discussed just now, a high pass response with a zero frequency of 50 megahertz and a pole frequency of 100 megahertz. One condition is given. You can use capacitors no larger than 10 picofarad. Means you can use capacitors up to 10 picofarad value, but not more than that. Zero frequency is given, pole frequency is given, the limit to the capacitor is given. So you can choose the value of capacitors and find the value of resistors. Similarly, you can, you need to obtain the value of resistors and capacitors so that you can design a filter. So can you quickly tell me what values you are getting for resistors and capacitors? You may choose the value of C1 as 10 picofarad itself. And even C2 value you can choose as 10 picofarad itself. So can you guys quickly tell me what value for resistance R1 and R2 you are getting? When you get the answer, you can just put it in the chat box.
You should take S as omega or J omega.
Frequency, right? So what is given is in hertz, so that is F. So F is equal to 1 by 2 pi RC. That way you should take.
Okay, yes.
So can you guys see the screen?
It's about 40.
Which one is 40? So I have just simulated the same experiment here by keeping an RC and RC, and C1 and C2 I have kept as 10 picofarad. Yeah. What value you are getting for R1?
Oh, sorry, they're different.
All right.
So I'm getting R1 parallel to R2 as some 79.57.
Okay, I'm not getting what way you are doing. Okay, 1 second. Let me. Yeah, so this is the expression what you have, right? Can you see the screen now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so what you need to do here, we know that the zero frequency is given as 1 by 2 pi R1 C1, right? That is what we have written. Zero frequency is 1 by R1 C1. So when we write in terms of hertz, it is 1 by 2 pi R1 C1, and that value is given as 50 megahertz. Right. Similarly, pole frequency is equal to R1 plus R2 divided by 2 pi into C1 plus C2 into R1 R2. This is equal to 100 megahertz. Now you have assumed the value of C1 and C2. You know what is the zero frequency. That means you can easily find what is R1 value. So after finding R1 value, you can substitute R1 in this because the only unknown in the second expression is R2.
So then shouldn't it be R1 parallel? Oh yeah, okay, thanks. I got it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you are getting R1 value as 318.3. It should be ohms, and R2 value is 106.4 ohms. All right. Yeah. So others can try. So what I'll do is I'll just simulate this. Yeah. So I'll just enter the values here. You got. Can you tell me what is R1 value? 318.3, and R2 value is 106.4. Right. So after keeping all the values, what I have done is I have taken a source here that is available here in the components. On the components, you can get this. This is the voltage. If you click on this voltage, you will get this. That is what I have taken and kept it here. And when you click on this, I haven't selected anything. What I need is I just want to perform an AC analysis. What do you mean by AC analysis? Plotting output by input across frequency, right? Or plotting gain versus frequency is basically done with the help of AC analysis. So what I have done is I just kept this as none, and on small signal AC analysis, I just gave the AC amplitude as 1. That is the only setting what I have done. That is why you can see that AC amplitude is set as 1 here. All right. Now after that, I should go to simulate. I'll just go to AC analysis, and I have selected the type of sweep as decade, number of points 100. I'm starting from 1 to 1 gigahertz, because anyway the frequencies, the cutoff frequencies are coming at 50 megahertz and 100 megahertz, which is very well inside this. So that is what you can see the command here, .AC analysis. The variation is in decade, and it is varying from 1 to 1 gigahertz with 100 points per decade, right? That is what you can see. And I have added labels here. This is how you will add a label. You can just write what the label is, the name of the label, and you can select an input or output port. That way I have kept one label on input side as Vin and one on the output side. Right. So after that, you have to just run the simulation. And when you run the simulation, you will get a blank waveform window where you need to right click, and you can see there is an option called as add traces. Can you see that, what I'm doing? Are you guys able to see when I click?
No, sir.
All right. I'll do one thing. I'll just share my entire screen. Oh, it's time up, right? Okay. So I'll quickly show what it is. Yeah, I think now you can see. I should right click, and then it will come add traces. So what I did is I just kept on this blank window. I did right click. You will get an option called as add traces. There you can see V out and V in. So first I'll click V out, then V out will actually appear in this window. What I want is V out by V in. So I just put a division sign, and then I'll put V in here, and then I'll give OK. So when I give OK, you will get a response here. On this side, you have magnitude, and this side you have phase. I'll just right click on phase, and I just click this option as down plot phase. So what you will get is only the magnitude response. And you know that magnitude, what we designed is a high pass filter, and what you're getting is also a high pass filter. And there are two things you need to understand. You need to verify where is the pole frequency and where is the zero frequency, and the magnitude of that. So for that, left click on this label V out by V in, and then you will get this pop-up window, and you can just click on this trace, and you can actually move it. So as I move here, you can see the frequency here and magnitude here. So my pole frequency, sorry, zero frequency is around somewhere around 50 megahertz. Yeah, 50 megahertz. Your magnitude is around minus 9.96 dB. And similarly, at 100 megahertz, so you will see this is around 100 megahertz. Yeah, you can see the magnitude at even 100 megahertz also. All right, so what you need to do is you perform the same experiment, check the magnitude here of at 100 megahertz and 50 megahertz. And when I was teaching, I was telling the magnitude is R1 by R1 plus R2 and C1 by C1 plus C2 correspondingly at 0 and pole frequency. Verify that with these values you are getting. So what you are getting here is in dB, you need to convert it into the linear scale. All right, I hope you got some idea of how we are doing this simulation. So thank you so much for joining today. We'll continue in the next class, and Monday you will have a quiz and the portion I'll be announcing soon. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask now.